President Kiir says the security of the country is under control. And Vice President leaves for Yambio to brief the people of Western Equatoria on the genesis of the ongoing political crisis in the country. And coming up, Petroleum Minister says Sudan has agreed to send technical experts to help with the rehabilitation of oil facilities in Unity State after destruction by the rebels. Hello, you are watching the news coming to you live from South Sudan Television in Juba. My name is Alejandro Lotok, and now let's have a look at the news in detail. The President of the Republic, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, on Tuesday briefed the speakers of the National Parliament and Council of States on the security situation in the country following the failed coup attempt led by Riek Machar. In a media briefing shortly after the meeting, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Manasseh Magok Rundial, said President Kiir assured them that the security of the country is under complete control, urging the entire citizenry not to panic and listen to rumors that aim at causing panic in the country.
To the President and to compare notes how the country is going, and the ground, everything is going well, and the assured us everything is going on well. The military is actually under control of all our areas, but there's no call for an alarm. Everything is good, so we thank him for that, and we will see him another time when any other thing, if there are any new developments. And also in Ethiopia, they said, all right, they are about to start the negotiation. They are starting talks, and we also hope that there will be an amicable solution in this settlement. We want our people not to die, our people not to panic, like what had happened in Malakal yesterday. Some people panic and the boats were sunk. Some people died, which is not good for our people. So we are hopeful that everything in the coming days will be all right.
And the Vice President of the Republic, James Wani Iga, left Juba for Yambio this morning to brief the people of Western Equatoria on the current political crisis in the country. Iga is accompanied by a number of legislators to the state as part of government efforts to mobilize the masses to embrace peace and unity in diversity as vital major components for nation building. Speaking to SSTV at Juba International Airport prior to departure, Iga said the government remained committed to peaceful resolution of the conflict without any preconditions.
Mobilization pita mustajidin bardu rekord. Nimera talata sokol de fogoda de bardu tanwir le motnin pitana. Kelima narab sabab ta sakala bada de sabab de asan sunu. De kullu min ingla pitariak. Fa lokan riyak wafaq. يعني وقف إطلاق النار أو cessation of hostilities لنا كحكومة والله مستعدين لنا بوقف داعيات حصة ورئيس بتاعنا جنرال كير مايردت ونوس أكثر من 10 مرات عشان كلام بتاع إنه لنا مستعدين نكون في cessation of hostilities ده ونينا عاوزين سلام. اساسا الناس بتاعنا 38 سنه في حرب، فالدور ده نينا ما داير حرب، نينا بس داير الناس بتاعنا نمشي سلام استقرار وبعدك نمشي للتنميه. لكن نينا بونس في الشمال بتاعنا يكون في سلام وحوار، وفي يمين بتاعنا كمان نينا بدافع نمشي بتاعنا. ياو وجماعة كل من يوجا حاجة مننا في بنتيو وصالوا بنتيو وننا رجعوا ومن كمان جاء حاجة بور وصالوا بور مننا وننا برجعوا بور قريب ده. ننا في دفاع النفس بتاعنا، لكن كانوا من وفق في كلام بتاع الداعيات ومن وقف في كلام بتاع برضو قال رئيس بتاعنا بننزل تحت ومن وقف في حاجات بتوم الكتير جت طلب هناك قبل الناس ما جلس ده. لينا والله يعني مستعدين للسلام، مستعدين عشان الناس بتاعنا يرجع للاستقرار.
And the Speaker of the National Assembly, Manas Magok Rundial, urged South Sudanese to shun ethnicity and work for the unity of the country. Magok made the call in Juba on Tuesday while speaking about the current political crisis triggered by rebel leader Riek Machar and his group. Jaina Wadia has more on the story.
The National Legislative Assembly, Manas Magok Rundial urged South Sudanese to shun ethnicity and work for a common interest of the country. Magok made the plea in a news conference held on the current political crisis triggered by rebel Riek Machar, Temi, and his group. He pointed out that South Sudanese must put an end to bloodshed and resolve any difference peacefully through dialogue. The Speaker added that honorable members of the National Legislative Assembly are in support of the current peace talks in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, under the auspices of IGAD member countries.
We, as Parliament, we are for an amicable settlement of this dispute. Ceasefire should actually be arranged. People should go in for the settlement, and we see what is taking place. It can be amicably settled, and no preconditions should be imposed by any side, which is now, some are raising some preconditions, which is not the way things should not be done. I will not lecture on the gist of the matter, all of it, just a piece, and then we will cover whatsoever you will give us, your queries and your whatsoever you want us to give.
The Speaker of the Council of States, Joseph Bol Shan, appeals to the rebel to accept the current talks in Addis Ababa without preconditions. He called on the populace to promote unity, love, and peaceful coexistence.
Violence does not solve any problem. Wars even do not solve the problem. At the end of the day, people have to sit down and talk over their problem and resolve it. So we think what is happening now, as the Speaker said, is very unfortunate. But I think this is also a challenge which we should be able to overcome through reasoning, through dialogue, and come to a peaceful resolution, because we are losing a lot of lives. And this independence came about after spilling blood of over 2 million people. That should have been enough for us in order to shed tears again, lose lives again, and instead of, and what do we gain at the end of the day? So we think that this is time to sit back, look at the picture which is now we are painting for our country, and resolve the issue peacefully. Ceasefire is the most important aspect of it, cessation of hostilities, so that we can even be able to think and get a peace of mind so that we can resolve the problem we are facing today.
For SSTV News, I'm Jane Awadia reporting.
And the European Union says it will support South Sudan through IGAD to find immediate solutions to bring to an end the ongoing political stalemate in the country. This was echoed by the EU ambassador to South Sudan in a meeting with the Minister of Cabinet Affairs, Dr. Martin Elia Lomuro, in Juba on Tuesday.
The Minister of Cabinet Affairs, Dr. Elia Lomuro, met with the European Union ambassador in the country, Sohan Konvan. The meeting laid concrete ways to reach ceasefire with the rebel groups in the country. Ambassador Van said European Union will cooperate and give full support through Intergovernmental Authority on Development to find immediate solution and to stop hostilities in the country.
We discussed with the Minister the current political and military crisis. We expressed our sadness and disappointment that so far no solution could be found. We pledged again our full support behind the efforts of the African Union and IGAD to find a solution as soon as possible, and we reiterated our support in this context for an immediate ceasefire. And we also underlined that we consider essential that the political leaders currently in detention be freed as soon as possible.
The Cabinet Affairs Minister, Dr. Martin Enia Lomuro, gave a standing ovation to the European Union, saying they discussed quite a few ideas with the hope to bring back the country to prosperity.
A very reasonable length of time to recap what happened and what is the way forward in order to bring the country back again to peace and prosperity. And I think we had a very frank talk. This is the first time, even ever since I took this office, to have a very frank and direct discussion on the issues that have come up following the sad incident of the 15th December. And we looked at an incident has occurred, a coup has occurred, a mutiny has occurred. How do you get out of that? I think that's the key point. We have discussed several mechanisms, several ideas, which hopefully will be used by IGAD, as IGAD is being supported by the European Union, and will trickle into IGAD to contribute to the ideas that are already on the table as to how we should reach a ceasefire, find a political settlement to the conflict, and allow the detainees to go through the legal constitutional process and hopefully be released so that they are part of the solution. I think this is useful. We'd like to continue it so that we, from time to time, review the situation and find ways forward. So I'm grateful to my colleagues here.
Jackie Darrow, SSTV.
And the Minister of Defense and Veterans Affairs, Kwal Manyang Juk, visited the wounded soldiers at the military, police and Juba teaching hospitals, respectively. Minister Kwal hailed the wounded soldiers for their courage and sacrifice in defending the nation and its people, and health workers in delivering health services to the patients. He said the government will do everything possible to overcome the challenges facing health facilities to ensure quality services.
The nationalists, people who have humanitarian feeling, to contribute blood to the wounded soldiers, and this blood will be kept. Even if you go sick or you go sick tomorrow, you come and find your blood in the hospital. Let us contribute whatever we can. We say we offer our blood for the defense of our nation. Therefore, offer your blood for the protection or to save the lives of our soldiers. When they recover, they will go back to the front line. Our people are doing well in the front line. They are doing a good work. In Bentiu, they are recovering from the destructive forces of Riek Machar. And you know, Riek Machar is being led, or is using the devil, or what they call the kujur. I don't know why Dr. Riek has chosen to work with the spiritual leader, using the magics and leaving the church. That can also mobilize the people for peace. Is killing innocent people.
And the Minister of Petroleum and Mining, Stephen Dhiu Dau, met with his Sudanese counterpart, Makawi Mohammed Awad, in Khartoum to discuss the resumption of oil production in Unity State. It is worth mentioning that the rebels have destroyed oil facilities in Unity State following the failed coup attempt led by Riek Machar and his group.
Mining, Stephen Dhiu Dau met with his Sudanese counterpart Makawi Mohammed Awad in Khartoum to discuss the resumption of oil production in Unity State. It is worth mentioning that the rebels have destroyed oil facilities in Unity State following the failed coup attempt led by Riek Machar and his group. The Sudanese oil minister Makawi say they will dispatch technical experts to oil field in Unity State to help restore the facilities that have been destroyed by the rebels led by Riek Machar. He said the President of the Republic, General Salva Kiir Mayardit, and al-Bashir have agreed to work together in implementing the cooperation agreements, including oil and trade. Oil is crucial to the economics of the two neighboring countries, and timely restoration of the facilities is paramount for the flow to resume in unity state.
يمنع زيارة هذه الوفود مع بعض، والحمد لله أيضا مربوطة بمرجعية الاتفاقية التي تمت ما بين الرئيسين، خاصة في مجال الاتفاقية التي تنظم أعمال النفط في البلدين. ونحن رحبنا بهذه الزيارة، وهم جماعة فنيين وجلسوا مع نظرائهم من الفنيين. أي مساعدة هم يطلبوها ونحن على أحبة الاستعداد لها. ونحن نرى هذه الزيارة أو مجال النفط هو المجال الثاني الذي ربط البلدين بعد نهر النيل.
Minister Diudao, who returned to Juba, said the recent conflict in Bentiu has affected the quantity of oil production, and that Sudan and South Sudan have agreed to bring oil experts to work in the oil fields to boost production.
That we want to strengthen our cooperation and the oil agreement which the two countries had already signed, and after the insecurity in unity state, this is the time to utilize this agreement, so that if there is any damages or if there is any need for the technical support from Sudan, then we have to work together.
Minister Diudao said his visit to Khartoum was also to strengthen the cooperation agreements signed between the two countries. Reporting for South Sudan Television in Juba, I am Henry Jada John.
And in an initiative to aid the survivors of the failed coup attempt instigated by rebel leader Riek Machar, the Minister of Telecommunication and Postal Services, Rebecca Joshua Okwachi, accompanied by the Minister of Labor, Public Service and Human Resource Development, and the Minister of Culture, Youth and Sports, and that of Transport, have delivered food items to patients undergoing treatment at Juba Teaching Hospital.
It takes a wide scope to rehabilitate the situation of the victims of the failed coup attempt who are in various hospitals in the country. Nevertheless, emergency assistance keep on flowing to the hospitals from the government and other humanitarian agencies to minimize the challenges facing the patients. The Ministries of Telecommunication and Postal Services, Labor and Public Services, Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, and the Ministry of Transport, respectively, donated assortment of foodstuff to Juba Teaching Hospital to supplement the feeding for the patients. Speaking to journalists during the donation, the engineer in the Ministry of Telecommunication and Postal Services, Simon Philip, urges the citizens to assist the wounded soldiers who are shot in the cause of safeguarding the nation and its citizens.
كجسم واحد عشان نتضامن مع جرحى بتاعت جنود بتاعتنا البواسل اللي أصابوا في المعركة، وكل الناس كل الأخوة والأخوات الموجودات وراي هنا هم جو عشان يشاركوا في عمل بتاعت الوطن. أنا في مقام ده أو في محل ده أنا داير أتكلم لكل المواطنين بتاع جنوب السودان وجوبا بصفة خاصة بأنه هم حتى لو ما عندهم حاجة يدعموا به الجرحى يدعموا بمثل هذه مديدة بسيطة، حاجات بسيطة على الأقل يرفع روح معنوية بتاع إخواننا المجروحين في المستشفى.
They move to support the victims of the coup attempt by the government, humanitarian agencies, and the civil society organizations is a symbol of a united nation regardless of any originality.
بنشكر وزارة الاتصالات الممثل في الوزيرة ريبيكا جوشوا أوكاشي وجميع الوزراء المعاها وجميع النسوان الكلهم جو هنا عشان يجوا يتبرعوا اليوم. جايبين وجبة للناس المصابين في العنابر عبارة عن مديدة، وكل فترة بيقولوا إنه نحن ما جبنا حاجة. نحن بالنسبة لنا دي حاجة كبيرة جدا، دي مساهمة كبيرة جدا، وده بيرفع الروح المعنوية بالنسبة للمصابين. لما تحس إنه في زول حاسي بيك برا، أنت يعني ما مرمي ساكن في المستشفى، لما يعرف إنه في ناس بيجيبوا خبرك، حتى لو نحن مديدة إن شاء الله كان جبت لزول موية، بالنسبة لنا دي حاجة كبيرة جدا.
Edir Stephen, SSTV News.
And the leader of minority in the National Assembly has accused the rebels for killings, destructions and displacing people in Fashoda County of Upper Nile State. Onyoti Adiko Nyikwech made the statement to SSTV on Tuesday condemning the cowardice act and called on the government to dispatch the army to the area. Onyoti further called on the international community to pressurize the rebel leader Riek Machar to accept the cessation of hostilities and ceasefire.
There is a need for immediate cessation of hostilities between the government and the rebel without any condition. People who are now dying as sons and daughters of South Sudan. We need peace and stability in this nation of ours. We should accept one another, forgive one another, and do justice to one another. Any leader should think about his or her people, not about his party or him or herself. We strongly condemn the killing of innocent civilians and destruction of properties. It is easy to destroy, but difficult to build. It is the people you want to rule that you are killing and whose properties you are destroying. We call upon the international communities, organizations, to pressurize the rebel leader, Dr. Riek Machar, to accept the cessation of hostilities and a ceasefire. We appreciate the agreement for the ceasefire between the government and David Yao. This is a step towards the right direction. The current crisis in the country is a national issue which needs to be addressed by all people.
And Murle community have expressed their commitment to rally behind the government to bring peace and stability in the country. Members of the Murle community in Juba on Tuesday gathered to discuss the current political situation in the country and thanks the government for reaching ceasefire with David Yao and his forces.
بتاع مورلي في جنوب السودان هنا معروفين قاعدين ودائما نحن ما بنمشي بكلام ما تعرفوا بدأ كيف. دائما أنا داير نوري الناس إنه قبيلة المورلي عنده الظل، دائما بقعدوا في الظل وبيتكلموا إذا في أي مشكلة، كان مشكلة أسرية، كان مشكلة بتاع نفرين، كان مشكلة بتاع مجموع، كان ده شكل المورلي بقعدوا في الظل وبناقشوا، وبعد ذاك إذا الكلام ده مشت للشكل ناس يقوموا الشكل، وإذا الناس مشت للسلام يمشي للسلام.
And the caretaker governor of Unity State, Dr. Joseph Montouil, reaffirms SPLA commitment to protect and provide security to the state populace. He hails the role played by the army in retaking the state from the rebels and urged the SPLA to refrain from politics and defend and protect the territorial integrity of the country. More in the following report.
The caretaker governor of Unity State, Dr. Joseph Montouil, received a jubilant welcome by the citizens of Bentiu, capital of Unity State, on Monday after several days of official duty in Juba. Montouil was received upon arrival by Deputy Governor Colonel Mabek Lam and members of his state cabinet. Dr. Montouil called on the citizens to return to their respective homes in Bentiu town following the restoration of security. He reaffirmed that the SPLA soldiers are capable to protect and provide security to the citizens.
أنا جيت راجع للولاية بعد ما تم استتباب الأمن والنظام، فبطلب من كل المواطنين اللي كانوا قاعدين داخل ولاية الوحدة وداخل مدينة بنتي وبالذات أنه يجوا راجعين، كل زول يجي بيت بتاعه. العناصر التخريبية اللي قاموا بالتخريب بتاعت البلد هم حسب ما فيشين. ده الجيش بتاعكم SPLA هم اللي هسه قاموا بتأمين المدينة، وأنا جيت راجع عشان المواطن. لازم المواطن يجي راجع في بيت بتاعه، لأنه ده كان ما مشكلة بتاعت مواطن، ده مشكلة بتاع ناس فكروا في الانقلاب، فشلوا في الانقلاب، حاولوا الانقلاب لحاجة تانية.
Furthermore, caretaker governor of Unity State, Dr. Joseph Montul, paid a visit to the SPLA headquarters where he was briefed by the division commander on the several situations in the state. He commended the role of SPLA in retaking the state from the rebels and urged the SPLA to refrain from politics and defend the territorial integrity of the country.
That you fought side by side as comrades, as one people, as one nation. وده احنا دايرينه، لأنه ما ممكن في دقيقة كومريد بتاعك اللي امبارح ممكن جراك من عدو عمل لك تغطية عشان تطلع تيجي ترلو سلاح بتاعك. That's because انه في حاجة قالوا كده. جيش ده ما جيش بتاع قبائل، ده جيش بتاع دولة الجنوب. ده جيش بتاع دولة الجنوب، من أول المسؤوليات بتاعه أنه يحافظ على التراب بتاع البلد ده. اللي انتوا عملتوه عملية بطولية، الشعب بتاع الجنوب كله ما بنساه.
Governor Montuil acquainted himself with the general situation in Bentiu town after the National Army flushed out rebel forces of Riek Machar. He said committee will be formed to assess the damages of Bentiu town triggers by the rebel forces.
احنا كإدارة بتاعت ولاية هنكون نخد يدينا مع بعض في يد قيادة بتاعت الجيش عشان نقدر نصل للأهداف بتاعنا اللي كنا دايرينه أنه نحققه في الولاية. تأمين إننا منشآت مهمة جدا، منشآت بتاع بترول تم تأمينهم هسه في الرقاد. لسه عندنا منشآت هناك لغاية هسه لازم نأمنهم في ترجاز، وده ما مسؤولية سهل، ده مسؤولية كبير.
Reporting for SSTV News, I am Gore Anthony.
And that was the governor of Unity State, Dr. Joseph Montuil, speaking there during his arrival in the state. And of course, let's continue with the rest of the bulletin. The government of Central Equatoria has urged the rebels who are hiding in the bushes in the state to immediately surrender to the government in order to avoid senseless bloodshed in the state. Speaking to reporters in Juba, the State Minister for Information and official spokesman Suba Samuel appeals to the rebels to surrender themselves or move out from the state with immediate effect, saying nobody in his or her good mind or right mind rather will be allowed to use this land for waging a meaningless war. Suba said the people of Central Equatoria believe in peace and democracy as the only means of ascending to leadership. Suba, however, pointed out that the general security situation in the state is calm and people are going about their daily activities.
Poured their blood, they have shed their blood for the last 21 years for the genuine cause of the people of South Sudan to achieve independence. And therefore, we cannot at this time also continue shedding blood or using our areas which could have been used for important things for waging wars that are meaningless, wars that does not have any political objective. So it will not be good for them to continue operating in those areas. The best they will do is actually to surrender to the government and forget about whatever they are doing. The objective of the government currently is to continue with its developmental plans. The objective of government is now to continue on agriculture such that you can address the issue of food security. The objective of the government is to develop some good economic policies that will help our people empower themselves economically such that they get rid of poverty within themselves. That is the objective of the government, and people look forward for more development in the state and even in South Sudan.
And the National Army, SPLA, have repulsed an attack by Riek Machar rebels in Malakal. SPLA spokesman Colonel Philip Aguer says the rebels had launched an attack in Upper Nile State capital from 2 different directions, but the gallant government troops defeated them and took full control of the town. Colonel Aguer urges the local population to refrain from listening to rumors as the army work hard to restore peace and stability in the region.
Have been attacked by the rebels of Riek Machar from 2 directions. The fighting took place since morning, and in the afternoon the SPLA forces managed to repulse the attackers from Malakal and now in full control of Malakal town.